The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communications Station.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever it is, wherever you are. My name is LaDonna Miller, and I am here with Our Journey. And the show, Our Journey, what we do is we intertwine and dissect mental health concerns, not necessarily a diagnosis, but concerns that are maybe affecting individuals and make them realistic for ourselves. A little bit about me. I am a licensed clinical social worker here in the state of Illinois. I enjoy advocating for mental health and educating about mental health, making it real for everyone. So that way, we're not looking at these big words or big diagnoses and not knowing what to do with them. Okay. Today's topic is not a diagnosis. It's more so some information that I felt would be helpful, especially after working with quite a few clients who've experienced this. Okay. Not necessarily relevant for myself. But something that may not be relevant for you, but you can definitely gather this information and share it with a friend or family member. As a disclaimer, because I have to put this here as a disclaimer. I am a therapist. I am not your therapist. This information here is to be used for information and educational purposes only. So don't take this information and go running with it like you have a diagnosis or that something is wrong with you or that this is something that exactly that is prescribed or created for you. It's not your treatment plan. This is some methods or some suggestions that will be helpful. All right. Now that we have all the housekeeping things out the way, you know who I am, you know what we're getting ready to do. Let's hop on into it. All right. Today is going to be relatively short. So I'm going to break it up, give you some good information, and then we're going to be done. Okay. So what we're discussing in today's segment is the kind of after pregnancy, right? I could go and give this put this with another topic, but more so wanting to target or aim to image, right? To body image. So this is connecting back to a segment that we did a few months ago where we talked about body image as individuals and maybe having some body positivity. But this is now geared towards the fourth trimester, right? After giving birth to your little one, to your child, your children, if you have multiple births, being able to be positive with the body that you have and giving yourself that grace. All right. So coming with 8 different strategies, tips, tools that'll be helpful. We're going to go through a few, take a break, go through a few more, and then we're going to put it all together and we're going to be done. All right. And so many people, you know, if you have been pregnant yourself, you know, some people who are pregnant or have been pregnant, right? Or maybe you're planning to be. This is something that's in the pre-planning kind of thing. It's come up for me with some clients, honestly, several times in the last few months, which then is leading to some other concerns. So that's what we're going to get to is the weight and then some of the things that it could lead to, and then we'll break down the other things in the weeks to come. All right. And so, really, it's no secret. Most women gain weight as they are childbearing, right? As they are really carrying that child, they're gaining weight. And once the child is born, the children, if it's multiple births, now they're left with a little bit of that baby weight, right? Or some weight gain after having the children or the child. And so today, what we're going to do is go through some strategies that will mentally have the individual be able to accept what's going on and to move forward, right? And so the first thing is really for yourself, if you've given birth to children, really focus on the things, the wonderful things that your body has been able to endure and go through. You've created a human or humans if you gave birth to multiples, right? So that's something that you just wouldn't just wake up and do just one day and just be done. It's a process. Focus on the things that you've done for yourself and for your baby, right? You just grew a baby with an entirely new set of organs and everything, right? So that shifting that your body's doing, the changing that your body has done, and kind of really trying to go back to is definitely something that is different. So we're not wanting to focus so much on what it is that went on, but focus on that you've created human life, right? And so being able to go through that birth process, being able to have a baby, carry that baby is definitely something that is different, right? And it's definitely still doesn't ignore the fact that unconsciously or subconsciously you're looking at the person that you're seeing in the mirror or in photographs and saying, hey, that's not what I looked like before. That's not the usual me. That's not the normal me. And you're wanting to get back to that. You're wanting to have that as something that you can subscribe to or to change back to, but that's okay. Even if you're feeling kind of self-conscious, know that that is a feeling that many individuals have, right? So we're wanting to normalize that feeling, right? So yeah, sure, your body has changed. Let's normalize. Many individuals aren't necessarily as satisfied with their bodies. That's why you probably see lots of different workout things for let's get rid of the baby bump, let's change some things. Now, I'm not saying don't go and change and go exercise and, do some toning, do some changing, but more so what I'm saying is be okay with what you have, especially in those first couple months as you have given birth, right? And so the first step or strategy when you have this is what I'm going to encourage you to do is to get you some pen and paper or use your phone notes rather, and jot down 1 to 3 things that you are grateful for about your body, right? And so an example could be, I'm grateful that I have hands that I can prepare meals for my baby, right? So whatever that meal looks like, if it's a bottle, if it's some type of puree, if it's just preparing yourself to be ready, right? Or I'm grateful, all right? We're wanting to focus around the things that you can do, all right? So I'm grateful to have ears that I can hear my baby cry, all right? So we're wanting to use different body parts and identify what we are grateful for in our bodies. Okay. That's going to be something that is important, being able to move forward. And that gratitude exercise, you're able to then go and say, you know what? Now that I've expressed this gratitude, this gratefulness, I'm able to center myself. I'm able to center those thoughts, right? And so that's a technique called mindfulness. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So that's what I'm encouraging that to be the first strategy, right? That's going to be the first thing that you do. Give yourself that grace. Know that you look how you look, right? We're going to work on the parts of changing it, but be okay and normalize that other individuals are not the happiest with their body image, but then take that moment and express gratitude for what it is that your body can do and what your body has done. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, right? And so what we're going to do is aim for neutrality and body positivity, right? And so it would look like something, we don't want a drastic jump and saying, oh, I don't like my body. So, ooh, I love it, love it, love it. Right. So there has to be in between. right? And being able to affirm yourself, being able to motivate and feel confident in yourself is definitely something that is important. And we're wanting that to be mindful of that as we are moving through some things, as we are processing how things should look for ourselves, right? And knowing that there's always that in between, right? And so it might seem like something that's not manageable to have that neutrality within your body, right? Rather than focusing on the wonderful things about feeling great about your body, how about you focus on accepting that your body is different, right? Accept that, hey, you know what? My body is something that's different. It's not the size that I would like for it to be, but I am grateful for this, right? So when you are accepting that it is different, that's that part that makes it neutral, right? That's when you're acting in the neutral part, right? That's neutrality of accepting that it's different. It's not good. It's not bad. It's different. It's not necessarily something that could be categorized in a particular thing, but knowing and accepting a theory that I use a lot is acceptance and commitment. All right. And so that is my go to theory. That's how we rationalize and we process through things. And so this is really putting that theory to test for this particular concern that comes up. All right. And so being neutral, right? Having that neutrality is definitely going to be something important when we are feeling those different feelings. Know that you're different, know that your body's different. It's the one that you have. And that's all that we can do is work with the things that we have, especially when we are actively then going to do some different work to change things, right? So the next thing that I would encourage you to do is that we're going to observe the negative body thoughts. Like when do they come up? And then when they come up, we're going to reframe them and give yourself some grace and compassion, right? So first you're going to recognize what those thoughts are. When do those negative thoughts about your body come up? And reframe, right? So the act of reframing is to really pause and identify what it is that is shifting, right? So it's the act of a positive thought or rethinking that thought in a positive way, right? It still could be the same thing, but understanding that you can change. It's all in the way in which we think about that particular concept. But the other part of that step would be identifying when those thoughts come up, right? Like, are you noticing those thoughts are coming up when you are in public spaces? And then maybe break that down. Maybe public spaces is too broad. Are you noticing that it's coming up when you are in a grocery store? Are you noticing that it's coming up in social spaces that you were previously active in and now you look different, right? When are you noticing that those different things are coming up for you? What's different for you, what's the thought, and when is it coming up? So for example, I'll give a negative thought. You may say, you know what, I'm noticing that I'm feeling really fat, right? Or that my belly's really round. But you may notice that when you are, for example, at the local coffee shop and you're looking at people who you maybe have stood in line with for years, right? Like I have a few coffee shops that I frequent, and I go there honestly a couple of times a week, and you know kind of what the people look like. You're standing next to them, and then you're maybe realizing what you look like in comparison, right? And so reframing that thought would definitely look like recreating them into a neutral thought, and that would say, "Wow, we've changed over time and we should change." All right. Or wow, I've changed in these last few years and coming here different is okay. Right. Make that different. Be okay. Be okay with everything not being the same, everything not being caked up as it was before, right? And so this is how you're going to get the body into a more neutral place, right? By bringing some awareness rather to those negative body thoughts, and you're able to reframe them and make them more of a neutral thing. Again, practicing or exercising that mindfulness. Okay. And so, what we're going to do, we're going to pause for a couple moments, right? We're going to listen to some music. I do not want us to have information overload. When we come back, we're going to process through some additional tips that will be able to work for our body positivity after giving birth.
I keep asking myself how I made it this far. I keep asking myself how I made it this far. I keep asking myself how oh Lord have mercy, how I made it this far. Hey, I keep asking myself how oh Lord, how I made it this far. It was you, yes, oh Lord. I keep on asking myself, oh thank you Jesus, how I made it this far. After all I've been through, I don't know how. Oh thank you Jesus, how I made it this far. With tears in my eyes, and I don't know how. It must have been, had to been Jesus, I made it. I said, I don't know how I made it. Yeah, how I made it this far. It was you. You keep on pulling me through, and I'm grateful, Jesus. I can't pay you, but I sure can tell you thank you. I made it. Yes, I made it through the storm and the rain. Yes, I made it through heartaches and pain. Say yes, I made it. Say yes, I made it. Say yes, I made it. It was. Say yes, I made it. I had to cry, but I made it. I've been through so much in my life. Hey, but the Lord saw me through. The Lord, He brought me through. And I'm glad I'm standing here today to tell you through all I've been through, through all I have been through. Yeah, 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 I did it. Yeah, God been good. Oh, He brought us. Oh, He taught us. Look at us, we're still standing. Look at us, we made it. Through all we've been through sickness, through pain, through heartache and shame. Yeah, yes,
All right. Welcome, 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 welcome back. And so this is our journey If you're just maybe joining us, definitely what we are discussing today is the body image that individuals may experience, or the thoughts of body image individuals may experience after giving birth, right? And so far, what we have processed through is identifying what it is that those thoughts are that's coming up for ourselves, giving ourselves that grace, being able to reframe those thoughts and center and find and identify some things that we are grateful for, or express gratitude towards, that we can do with our bodies, right? And being able to move forward from that day, and be able to be encouraged, right? And so, some tangible tips that we have discussed thus far is being able to write down those things that we experience gratitude for in our bodies, being able to know what they are and move forward from that, right? Now, I will say, yes, I have particularly chosen to target this episode towards individuals who have given birth. However, someone, they just text me to tell me, like, oh, well, this could be applicable to anyone. Yeah, it could be, right? Like, yes, this can actually be applicable to anyone who is experiencing some changes in their bodies, or knowing that they have body changes. However, some of the parts are specific to those who've given birth. However, if you may need this information to use because your body has changed, definitely feel free to, right? Like, it doesn't just stop with those individuals. However, I was catering this particular information to that demographic of individuals, those who have recently given birth to a child, or children, right? But knowing, hey, my body's changed. Let me give myself that gratitude. Let me give myself some change. Let me give myself some grace. Let me thrive on. Go for it, right? It definitely can be applicable in many instances to individuals who've just experienced just changes in their bodies and may not have given birth. Okay, give me one moment. Drink a little bit of water. And so, being able though to know, hey, this is something that I'm struggling with, that's definitely going to be helpful, right? Especially coming from a time where individuals may have been quarantined, right? We've been inside for a while, we've been outside for quite some time now. But being able to know that, hey, maybe my body's changed. Maybe I've gained some weight. I'm not looking as I looked before March of 2020, right? I've changed, I've grown, I've done a lot of things in the last 2 years. Let me be okay with that. Let me exercise that grace for myself as well. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And I would encourage you to definitely make these applicable for you, right? Like, if this information is not something that you can share and is more applicable to you, by any means, absolutely take the information and use it for yourself, right? And so definitely understand that, right? And so what I wanted to do is to go back and give some examples of the last point that I was describing, or that we were processing through, right? So we were tasked with observing the negative body thoughts, right? Identifying when they occur, and then you reframe those thoughts, give yourself grace and compassion, right? So we broke that down. We understand, hey, we're going to know when these come up. But now, what we want to do is go through and process some particular examples that may come up, right? And so, some things that may come up, in particular for individuals that may have given birth recently, is that the thoughts, right? So I'm going to go with the thought, and then I'm going to give you an example of what that reframe looks like, right? Some more examples. So the thought would be, I hate that my belly looks like I'm still pregnant, right? So a big stomach, big belly. right? But the reframe would look like, my belly looks different than it did before I had the baby, right? Before I had my child, right? So the different, right? Remember, we talked about how we are reframing, how we are practicing body neutrality, right? And knowing that things are different, not good, not bad, but different, and being able to accept and being able to move forward with those feelings, right? Now, you can, we can name and observe things, right? Without judging, right? It's not necessarily good, bad. It's the thing that's in between. It's the neutrality. And that's what our goal is, especially when we are identifying that some things are different and we're not necessarily maybe excited about it, but we can process through and understand, hey, here are some things that are maybe different about myself, right? So, another one. Here's another thought, right? So, the thought is, the stretch marks on my hips and belly look horrible. They look gross, right? Reframe. Let's listen to the reframe. I'm thankful that my body was able to stretch and change to allow me to carry my baby. You hear it? You hear that? Being grateful, expressing that gratitude for what your body has had the opportunity to do, what you were able to produce, right? It's not taken away like, oh no, girl, they look good. They look real good. We're not saying that. We're practicing not good, not ooh, they look ugly, not bad, but neutral. I'm grateful for, right? Practice reframing, not necessarily only on body image issues, right? This is something that everyone can do. We can all practice reframing. We can practice being able to change or make neutral things that are going on around us instead of falling victim to those negative thoughts and processing them in a particular way. And so that's definitely going to be something that's important, of being able to know, like, you know what? Let me be neutral. Let me practice neutrality in this particular example or this particular thing. So, in doing so, that's going to put us in a completely different mindset, and we're not going to be stuck in those negative thoughts, right? And so, by having that gratitude and appreciation and practicing that neutrality, right? So, now let's move on to the next tip or step, right? So, this one's gonna sound real obvious, but I'm gonna have to just say it. Don't try to force yourself into those clothes that you wore before you was pregnant, those pre-pregnancy clothes. All right. We live, right? This is really primarily for people who are in the US who are listening. We live in a size dominant culture, right? Where size is attached and shape is attached to so many different things, right? And it is attached to a lot of social things, really changing up the way in which we do life, the way in which we do a lot of different things. And so being able to focus and know, like, hey, these are some things that's different and I'm okay with that, is definitely going to be something that is important, right? So don't try to fit into them clothes, right? And so, well, the truth is, like, they might not fit. They might not fit for a while. They might not ever fit, but you got to be okay with that, right? And so, but you can definitely work, right? Like, you know, depending on kind of what's going on, you may be able to work to get your body to the size that you were previously, if that's something that you're really stuck on. However, the therapist in me is going to let you know, we're not going to create or develop body image issues, because this can lead to a whole nother thing, right? Like, I recently have onboarded a client that gave birth, you know, maybe like 7, 8 months ago, and is experiencing some of these concerns, but had a previous therapist, right? Everyone takes things differently, but a previous therapist, and now we're in an eating disorder, right? So those body image issues has led to depression, and now an eating disorder. So now we are working with a whole nother category of disorder, something that's a little bit different than what this is, right? Because right now we're just concerned about the image. It's not necessarily a disorder, right? Like you don't come in and say, wow, you have post-pregnancy body image disorder. No, but there is a such thing as body dysmorphia, right? And that's the feeling, the idea that you got to keep changing your body because you want to fit into a particular image or thing in which you are creating for yourself. Is never enough. You're never the right size. It's never that, right? Another topic for a whole other day, but that's why we're confronting this now. So that way this isn't something that comes up later on, right? That's why this is important. You all know I like to give you the why. The why are we talking about this? What this got to do with anything, LaDonna? Because even if you're not a person who just gave birth to a child or children, if you are experiencing some body image issues or concerns, you're not the size that you were, your body done different things, you have stretch marks, you look different. If we're not addressing reframing, practicing gratitude and mindfulness, we're going to have other concerns down the road. Things that honestly, with some education and some change in mindset, would really be preventative from other disorders that are maybe classified as more severe, right? Because this isn't a disorder. This is a precursor to typically what comes up as a disorder if not addressed, right? So, being able to know that and knowing how we're going to move forward from that is definitely something that is that's important, right? It's important for us to know, it's important for us to do, and that's how we move forward, right? So knowing you ain't gonna be able to fit back in them clothes size and be okay with that. And if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But use a size 6 before, and now you like maybe an 8 to 10, and you concerned that you don't fit those size 6 clothes. Do understand clothes are expensive. You know, we at a time right now, some inflation, they talking about the recession, all this stuff going on. And you maybe don't want to buy no clothes. You really like the clothes that you had. Well, the sad news is you may not be able to go back to those, but be okay with that, right? Because when you put on those clothes that don't fit, that's making it uncomfortable and you frustrated, right? Like even if it was something that's a stretch clothes, right? And it's like, oh, this don't really fit. And so not only are you physically uncomfortable, right? Like it's all into your skin, it is tight, you can barely breathe or bend over. But now, excuse me, you are psychologically uncomfortable. You are unable to really process and thrive and go throughout your day because you wondering like, "Ooh, how do I look in this? Do this look like this the right size? Is this something that's appropriate for me? What is it that I should be doing?" And so on and so forth. And being able to know like, "Hey, like this is something that is completely not important, right? And you're forcing yourself to be more uncomfortable by trying to put those clothes on. So don't do it, right? That's just it in short. Don't try to force on those clothes, those outfits because you want to make it work. And instead it's making it worse, right? And so the step that you would do is you go get some clothes that fit you comfortably. So you're gonna get the size that's appropriate for the body that you have now. Right. So that may look like gradually going and expanding what your closet looks like, or however you store your clothes, and being able to say, you know what, let me get some different things, right? And being okay with knowing that you have to get some different clothing. And so Because if you got to go, they get a different size, that doesn't mean anything. Again, you're going to go back, you're going to remind yourself of what you have just endured. You're going to remind yourself, express gratitude towards your body for being able to carry your child or children, all right? And being able to know that. And you don't have to go get the most expensive clothing, right? Go find something that's more economical, that maybe fits your pricing, your budget, right? So not always is it something that is the most budget friendly thing to do. So go ahead and get that and be able to process and know, like, hey, this is something that is definitely helpful, right? And so strategizing through that. All right. So the next thing I'm telling you to do is to stop body checking. All right. So body checking, that's something that we do without noticing that we even doing it, right? So we'll break it down for you so that way you know what what it is that you're not supposed to be doing. Okay. And so that's the practice of looking at your reflection, like when you walking past a mirror or windows, if you outside and in public and it's those places with the long mirrors, windows that you look in and you look at yourself. When you pass by, you lifting your shirt to look at your stomach or your belly to say, what my belly looking like? Weighing yourself in the morning and the evening, like, stop getting on and off that scale. It's not changing nothing like that, right? Like, oh yeah, maybe you did lose 2 pounds today, but they probably be back when you go to sleep and you wake back up. It's just the reality of it. So but those are things that you're doing, right? Putting on Constantly pulling at your clothes to make sure they stand in the right place. Like, let me pull this down, this kind of thing. Because I'm looking at myself in the camera right now. But that kind of thing of like, all that, right? That's body checking, right? Because you checking to look to see, you doing stuff like this, you fidgeting, you maneuvering stuff because you got the opportunity to be in front of a camera, right? So it's like a mirror, it's like the window. But that's body checking. That's what body checking will look like. So being able to first off be aware that that's something that's going on. That's what we're going to do first, right? So we've identified those things. That's what you're gonna stop doing, right? So being able to make a conscious decision or a conscious effort to stop this habit is when you notice that you are doing it along the way and taking attention off of your appearance, right? Because we're not wanting everything to be about appearance. That's the purpose of this segment, right? So that way we can understand that we are more than our appearance, right? It's not to say just go around looking like, who done it. However, knowing that your appearance does not define who you are, right? You define your appearance, you create the vibe, you know who you are when you come into those spaces. Ooh, I'm going to a whole nother thing. I'm gonna stay focused and we're gonna get this information. And so this is definitely something that is helpful. So it's putting this together, grabbing resources, materials, because I've been using this for clients the last couple weeks. And I think I have like 2 or 3 more this week that's experiencing some of the same things. And being able to know and to process through those particular feelings is definitely going to be something helpful, right? And so what I'm going to do now, we're going to break down and process through some ways in which we can break the habit of body checking, right? And so the first thing I'm gonna do, if you're the person who have a scale that's like in an easily accessible place, like it's sitting in a bathroom, your bedroom, maybe it's in your workout room or something like that, move the scale. Take it out of a spot that's make you got to keep on getting on and off it. Okay, because the scale is not doing nothing for you. Stop getting on it. It is not helpful. It is not a tool that you need to use like that. Not right now. Okay. Um, you're not gonna die because you didn't look at the scale. You didn't get on the scale. So that's gonna be the first thing. Move the scale. All right. The next thing is do the stuff that you would normally do. So like brushing your teeth, go to the bathroom, your hair, the kitchen. Do it in a different spot. Do it in your bedroom or something like that, right? Do it in the hallway. Do it in the kitchen. I don't like people doing hair in the kitchen, but do it someplace else. Or turn your back to the mirror. Don't look back at the mirror while you're doing those, right? If you're the person who needs to kind of do it in the bathroom, right? Don't look in the mirror while you're doing it. So that way you're not looking like, yeah, look at this here. You're doing all that. Turn your head, get the stuff done that you need to do. Don't look in that mirror, right? So now when you looking, we ain't got no scale. You ain't getting on and off that scale. You're not looking in the mirror, right? Like obviously, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom, right? That's to be done in the bathroom. Be very clear about that one, right? But all the other activities, finding alternatives or finding ways in which you're not looking at yourself in the mirror for those common everyday things, right? Like obviously you may want to look in the mirror before you walk out. Make sure that, stuff is laying down, but don't get to pulling and tugging and da. You said about 10 seconds in the mirror. Keep going. That's all you need. Okay, you don't need to be. Not all that. The hairs that's there, you're supposed to have already shaved those off. Okay. Whatever that's there should already, you already knew that it was there. Stop looking at it in the mirror. Okay. Look and go. If you absolutely have to use the mirror. But I'm going to suggest creating or identifying ways that you don't got to look at yourself in the mirror. Okay. Wear some clothes that feel good on you. So don't be wearing something that's all, uncomfortable. It's all tight and you can't breathe, move, or walk because that was the size that you wore before. And by all means, don't go buying some clothes that's the wrong size because this is your size. And you wasn't that size, probably not even 9 months ago, but you wasn't that size when you had the baby, before you were pregnant. Right? Like if that was the size that you were, that's not the size that you are, don't get that no more. Don't pull out the closet. Don't go buy it. Don't do nothing like that. Wear what's comfortable. Wear what fits your current body. Right? The next thing is, if you're walking past a reflective thing, so a mirror, the windows, like, you're in a space, it's got a lot of windows and stuff like that. Distract yourself. Start talking to a friend if you're with someone, right? If you're accompanying someone or someone's accompanying you, or distract yourself by thinking of some things. This may be a good time for you to say your affirmations, to have some things that you're saying to yourself, affirming yourself of, or maybe even call a friend, right? Like if you're in a space that's like fully populated, right? Not like, oh, I'm gonna walk past this one building that has some windows. I need to call someone, I need to do something. If you're in a space like, say, for instance, in downtown Chicago, where there are several buildings that have windows and you're kind of outside, maybe this is the time to call a friend, or maybe distract yourself by listening to some music, podcasts, something like that, to be able to move forward and not necessarily be stuck or pause at a particular instance of what's going on. Okay, so that's definitely going to be helpful for you there. All right, so what we're going to do now, we are going to take a bit of a pause, right? Because I know we got a lot of information. I'm good for just giving you information. We're going to pause, and then we're going to come back. We're going to gather the last few things, and we're going to be done. So stay tuned.
Come on, he's rocking. Let's rock with him. Hey, everybody say, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last. Hey. Trouble don't last always. Trouble don't last. Trouble don't last. Why? 'Cause all things work together for your good. It won't last. Hey. Trouble don't last. Hey. Trouble don't last. Listen, I know it may be hard to hope for tomorrow when you got so much going on today, but you gotta hold on. It's a test of your faith. Oh, but here's the good news. He's working it out for you. We've been laying up for a night, but joy is coming in the morning time. Oh, Lord. 'cause all things work together. Hey, it won't last. Hey, trouble don't last. Trouble don't last. Trouble don't last. Come on, say ooh. Hey, oh, it may be hard to hope for tomorrow when you got so much going on today.
But you gotta hold on when your situations come.
It's a test of your faith. Oh, but here's the good news. He's working it out for you. Weeping may endure for the night.
Just for the
in the morning time, Lord.
trouble don't last
Trouble don't last always.
Trouble don't
Hey, why? 'Cause all things work together.
things work
Hey,
together for your good.
it won't last.
It won't last.
Hey,
Trouble don't last.
hey, trouble don't last.
Trouble don't last.
Come on, say Hey, come on. Has the Lord opened doors for you?
Yeah, yeah,
Has the Lord made a way for you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Has the Lord healed your body, say? Has He made a way for you, say? Say, it won't last. Hey, it won't last. 'Cause it's over. It's over. It won't last. Trouble will last. It's over. It's over. It won't last. It won't last. My hurt and pain. It's over. Say it won't last. I don't have to worry. My joy is coming in the morning. Say it's over. Say it won't last. Trouble won't last. Oh, my hurt and pain. It's over. Say it won't last. Trouble won't last. 'Cause it's over. Say it's over. Say it's over. My heart is over. Depression is over. Bitterness is over. It's over. I don't have to worry no more. I don't have to worry no more.
Right. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is our journey. What we're doing today is we're processing through the fourth trimester, right? What things would look like. I know there's not really four trimesters, but what looks like after you have given birth to a child, the body image issues that maybe or concerns that you're experiencing or that your loved one is experiencing. What we are processing through today is being able to give ourselves some grace, gratitude, and be able to move forward, do things that are comfortable for ourselves, and not necessarily allow the standards of body image to affect us, and not allow things that are external to us affect the way in which we feel, we thrive, and we move. All right. So it's definitely going to be something that is important for us to acknowledge, for us to understand, and then be able to move from there. And so it's definitely encouraging for us to gather these tips and strategies, and to know that maybe it's not us who's recently had child or children, but we're maybe experiencing some body image issues. And so a little bit earlier, during the show, I did get someone to text me and say, hey, this is something that maybe everybody could use. So how about you let them know that? So now, since this is something that everybody can use and we know that, we're definitely wanting to maybe move forward from there, right? We're just going to take out the parts that say like, oh, my body had a baby. I was able to do those things. So you're maybe needing to adjust it a little bit to be able to move forward. There was previously a body image segment. So that was maybe a couple months ago. So there was definitely a segment about it for us to be strategic, and it was framed a little bit differently, but that's okay. I am incorporating some ways for us today, in case you missed it, right? You might have just heard about us, may not have had that opportunity to be there for us to process through some things. We are creating, and it's in the works, a complete library of what all of our segments and just some informational tools. So that way you're not looking everywhere for them, but you're having a centralized place for them. So that way it could be something that is helpful for you and moving forward. But for the time being, gather this information and make what is applicable to you useful. Okay. So we're just going to hop into the last couple things that are helpful for us before we end the segment, right? So we've gone through several different ways that are honestly leading back to us practicing that mindfulness, that gratitude, and being able to move forward. So we stopped at body checking. So I'm encouraging you to stop body checking. We had those ways in which we're going to stop doing so. So we're going to create distractions when we're walking past those mirrors. We're going to remove ourselves from the places that have mirrors. If we're needing to like brush our teeth, do our hair, we do those things in rooms or spaces without mirrors. We're creating distractions by making phone calls if we're in a heavily populated place with those windows and mirrors. And in that section, we are also getting rid of that scale, putting the scale into a different place, not getting on and off that scale. And we're also going to wear the clothes that make us feel comfortable, both psychologically as well as physically. Okay. So listen to and trust your body. All right, that's the next thing. I know it's very general, but you all know I like to get things in steps and processes. So that's what this one is named. Listen to and trust your body. And so even when you don't feel good about you don't feel great, you don't feel fantabulous about yourself, you can still trust and know your body issues and your body cues. What is it that your body is trying to tell you in that particular moment? Right? Being able to understand that is definitely going to be something that is important. So this is not the time for you to fix up fancy, reframe, and then you're not listening to what's going on with your body trying to tell you. Right? So that's not the purpose of this exercise or this segment. Right? So in order for our bodies to operate or function at their optimum capacity or that their maximum capacity, we're needing to have some certain things in place, right? We're needing to, there's needing to be sending some signals back and forth so that we can promote a healthy lifestyle, healthy living, being able to thrive and to know, right? And some of those signals promote good health. And so I know it's like seeming to be very basic, but sometimes it's not to everyone. And some things are a little bit different. So if your body telling you it's hungry or your body telling you it's full, when your body giving you those clues and those cues, you need to be listening. Respond accordingly. Okay, your stomach growling, you know you ain't ate. Eat. Don't be sitting there. Ooh, cause my size. Ooh. No, your body, it said it was hungry. That's what it's doing that for. Okay. Very rare. I don't think I've ever really seen too many things that this can happen, right? This is probably something I was watching on YouTube or something like that, where a person can come in, they can make their stomach growl on command, right? Like there's nothing that's really going on, but they can just say growl stomach. Typically, it don't do that, right? They may be moving some different parts. Like if you do like reflexology, you can definitely make your body make different sounds, but it's actually reacting to the things that you're doing. Like if it's like a foot reflexology or body reflexology, knowing kind of what's going on. But other than that, we're not making our bodies make different sounds or different things on command. So if your stomach growling and you know you ain't ate, you probably hungry. So eat. All right. If you know you sitting there and you had a nice portion and your body telling you it's full, that means stop eating. Okay, I know I told y'all this will sound very basic, but our body is telling us some things. And if we're not following it, we're going down an unhealthy path, right? It's something that we're not listening to, we're not responding accordingly, we're not doing none of the stuff that we're supposed to be doing. Maybe it's time for you to slow down on some things. Maybe it's time for you to move differently. Being able to know what it is that your body is saying, you might have to take a moment to pause and understand, hey, what's going on, right? Like your body cues, especially after giving birth, may be a little bit different, right? Because you've gone from caring for, eating for you and your child or children. If you're pregnant with multiples, you can perceive multiples, but being able to know what those cues are like. So listen for them, right? Or feel for them. Know what it feels like. Know what it's like for when your body is giving you those signals. Don't ignore them. That's not the time, right? It's now you're needing to fulfill those basic needs in order for you to be on the right track with your health. This is not the time to be, doing all kind of different stuff, and now you malnourished and all different type of stuff is going on because you was trying to look a certain way and you was trying to have a particular look. This not it. This not that time. This not what you want to do. All right. So being able to know, I'm hungry, or oof, I'm full, or oh, I need water, or oh, I need this, right? Our body typically can tell us, like, when you little, or maybe you have some little ones that's older than, like, it's not your first child, right? Or maybe like people get potty trained. Let me get this example. And when you're little, you definitely may not be able to know. Like you typically kind of know when you're hungry, right? Because they start crying, the baby will cry. Why? They hungry, right? Now they know they're hungry, and you know they're hungry now, or something else, and might have to go to the bathroom or something like that, right? And being able to move forward. And they know when they enter the bathroom, when they little, they might go crawl into little spots and be going to the bathroom, squatting over, something like that. They missing something going on. But when they potty train, they may not necessarily. I know this is something that we're working on with my goddaughter. She's mostly successfully potty trained now, of knowing though when she has to go to the bathroom, right? So your body know, just like it can tell you, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, it's time for me to stop eating. Oh, it's time for me to eat something. Our body knows. We know how to listen to our bodies. We've been doing it since birth, right? And so it's now not the time. It's not the time now, rather, for us to start ignoring what those signals are, right? We need to be attentive, pay attention, and be able to move forward. Now, into the last one. So that way we know kind of how we are going to do this, right? So we're going to listen to the way in which what our body's telling us. We're going to eat those foods. We're going to eat. We're going to not eat. We're going to eat the things that are good for us, right? We're not going to cause damage to our bodies. We know the things that the way in which we should be eating. If you need some extra steps, tricks, or strategies, definitely reach out to your nutritionist. If you don't have one, reach out to your primary care provider. Y'all know I'm always going to tell y'all what y'all need to do about reaching out to somebody, because this is not going to be the end all be all for the information that you're gathering. This is our first step on our journey. So go reach out, get you that referral, get yourself to a nutritionist, so that way they can assist you in being able to know the things that are good for your body. And the last thing before I let you go is know that you are more than the scale. You are more than that number that pops up on the scale. You're more than the number that pops up on those clothing, those outfits that you're wanting to wear. You are more than that. You're able to understand that you are the person, right? What is on the inside, your characteristics, your behaviors, also the inside, the things that we're consuming and eating is what makes us us, not necessarily the size or the weight. All right. So that's all I have for us. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned next week for another topic on mental health concerns.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning